Is there a motion to deny a request to grant a variance to exceed the total allowable maximum square footage of an 800 square foot for all accessory structures on a property to permit the construction of a 1,500 square foot sport court in an R3 single-family residential zoning district for the property commonly known as 17051 South Windsor Court? Nicole M. Donegan Trust, as recommended by the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission's findings are attached, refer to attachment A, per the advice of the village attorney. An ordinance is not presented for board consideration in this case. So, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Well,
We're going to
have
have a
to
discussion.
make a motion and second it to open for discussion, correct? Or can we do something different? I
You
think
can
we
make
have
no
to have-
motion at all.
Well, are you making this motion, or are you making a motion to direct the staff to prepare the ordinance for discussion at the next meeting?
Okay, so my motion can reflect that rather than
Yeah,
wait
so
for
it's
discussion?
right.
I'm sorry.
So
Okay.
so the president's asking for a motion to deny it,
Right.
but what you want is you want to direct the staff to prepare the ordinance for discussion at the next meeting.
That is correct.
Okay, so then your motion should be, is there a motion to direct the staff to prepare the referenced ordinance?
That is my motion, Mayor.
Okay, do I have a second?
I didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
What we're going to do is, right now with the Planning Commission going over this, and they denied it due to the ordinance that is in place right now, the zoning is different, and the ordinance doesn't pertain to what Mr. Donegan and Mrs. Donegan are looking for. So what we want to do is we have to bring it back to the board with an ordinance that will basically, with discussion tonight, it'll say that we're okay with it, but we have to discuss it first and then put it in the ordinance, and we can approve it.
Okay, I'll second the fact that we're going to look at the ordinance. Yes.
Okay, all right, so is there any discussion?
Okay, so I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. So tonight is only discussion, or can we approve the 1,500 square foot?
Yeah, if you want, like, if after all the discussion, you want to go ahead and approve, adopt an ordinance, we can prepare the ordinance following.
It's a conditional approval, correct? Excuse me.
Correct, until the ordinance is put forward.
Right.
Because right now he's actually coming, the gentleman is coming for a variance.
Right.
So what we can do is we can approve the variance. Is that what I'm saying?
Well, the variance,
I just want to make sure it's written.
it has to be approved by an ordinance.
Okay.
So, historically, what you do and what most towns do is that they direct the preparation of the ordinance. In this instance, I had a discussion with the staff about the preparation of the ordinance, and I said, it doesn't make, I wouldn't want the ordinance if I was a trustee because of the vote of the Planning Commission. So if you want to have, if you want to approve the ordinance now and then have us write it up, that's fine. If you want to have us prepare the ordinance, over the next 2 weeks and then present it to be voted on at the June meeting, that's okay. The last meeting in June, that's okay too.
So then
You can do either one.
So then at that point, then the approval for the 1,500 square foot will be done, so the gentleman would have to wait 2 more weeks?
No, you can make a motion to adopt the ordinance now, granting the variance, and then we could prepare the ordinance later. We could prepare the ordinance after,
Okay.
based on your direction. Now, what we do is email it to everyone, and if somebody said, well, that's not exactly what we meant, but it's rather straightforward, because all they're asking for is a variance to put the sport court, 1,500 square foot sport court on their property.
Correct.
Okay, so we can do that in accordance with the application. It's not difficult to do at all.
And just so everyone's on a page with this, what they did is, they have a second lot. Nothing's on the lot. So between the two of them, you're well over 1.5 acres, and this thing will fit, and it doesn't take up much land at all. The owner is also going to fence off the whole area and then around basically the lots. And then he's going to do some landscaping too to dress it up and give it a little privacy. So, is
What
there any
about
other...
lights? Is this going to be
Dan, why don't
discussed?
you come up to the mic, please? Okay. Now you can answer the questions.
Do you intend to put lights?
No. I just, right now I have a permit for a fence. They're installing it actually next week, or they started with columns, and I have the landscaper waiting just on this. Everything's kind of hinging on this because I don't want to landscape it and then tear it up to do a court. So everybody's on hold at the moment of waiting to try to
So
landscape.
what
around
is
it.
the fence? The fence is going to go around the courts?
It's
Or they're gonna-
because I purchased the second lot, I'm gonna fence around both properties instead of just the one property.
The entire perimeter.
Right,
And you have a permit for that already?
yes.
So the fence is not going around this?
No, it's just going around the perimeter of both lots now. But I didn't want to construct that until the court went in because the trucks would need to get in there and do work, you know. I don't want to have to take the fence apart to get back there either. So we've been waiting on that.
And you said that you're not going to put any lights in, correct? Okay, make sure we have that in the minutes. Also, regardless of this, what comes through, if it goes through or not, what type of, you said you were going to put landscaping around there, or is that evergreens or?
It's a ton of stuff, anything to shield. I'm backed up to 1,000 acres of farm behind me, nothing on the south, nothing on the east. I'm on a dead-end street, I'm the very last house. I send the certified letters out to all the neighbors, nobody has an issue. Nobody can really even see it, but I'll have anything tall, anything to accommodate anybody that has any question on it to shield it in any way.
Okay, and I know, according to our package, you do have you have the proper setback. Have you thought of anything with, if it is approved for the larger size, with the variance, because variances should be only for a hardship, and this is not, it's a hardship in your case. But have you thought of, any type of runoff? Is there any issues with the concrete, or have you thought of something that's porous, like a concrete that's porous that can absorb? I don't know, would that cause any issue, type of runoff?
I don't think, there's a catch basin right there in the corner of the lot.
Okay.
That's literally 15 feet from the edge of the court. Like I said, there's not, everything's sloping down in that corner. The landscaper started grading the area to make sure everything's pitched in that direction, but right now, with the season, I'm kind of losing the season, because it's, by the time if it does go through, whether it's 20 by 40, which I was approved for, I'm just asking for the extra 10 feet on both sides, mainly just to accommodate the high school three-point line for my kids. That's the main reason why I just want to go an extra 10 feet. And as the mayor said, there's nothing on the lot. It's completely empty. And that was the purpose of purchasing the lot. It was neglected for many years, ever since the housing market crashed. Nobody's built a home on our block since. There's only like 10 homes on the block, and it's the corner lot of the whole block.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Not right now.
Okay, just so I get it right, so by approving the motion, does that grant the variance and, no, so we have to change
So
it
the
again?
motion would, right, so your motion now would be, if you're inclined to grant the variance, would be, is there a motion that you move to adopt an ordinance granting the variance as requested and directing the staff and the village attorney to prepare the ordinance?
Okay. So
And then like I said, these are not difficult ordinances to write, because it's going to reflect what's ever in his petition. We'll type it up, mayor signs it, the clerk, assuming that it's all approved, and then it's in effect.
Okay, so I'd like to amend my...
I'm sorry, because I always look at the guy what I was saying is that if you approve the ordinance, the ordinance the law doesn't require that the ordinance be physically in front of you. What it requires is that for it to take effect, that it be published, that it be typed up in a pamphlet form. And the issue is not particularly complicated, that you would grant a variance to him in accordance with the petition. And we would incorporate the petition language in there, so the fact that there's no outdoor lights, et cetera, would all be in the ordinance. So you can approve the ordinance tonight if that's your intention. Then we'll type it up, and they can get, the mayor will sign it, and they can get underway. And then we would email it to everybody before to take a look at.
So we're approving something we haven't seen.
Right. If that's
And how fast are you going to send this over to us?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
It's on the condition of those
On the
requirements.
Right.
condition of
Right.
everything?
Yeah.
If this goes through?
This isn't a difficult ordinance
Just a
to do.
1,500.
What
But
are the
this is just for
conditions that-
this-
I mean, what are we talking? No lights. No lights.
Yeah, it's a conditions, and as he
Landscape.
filed a petition, and he said, I want a variance to do, to make it this big, and there's all types of plans and drawings, so, when I prepare him, it just says that, you're granting a variance of whatever it is that whatever variance he's asked for, and that the development is in accordance with the plans and specifications submitted to the village. And then that's what he's stuck with, including the proviso from, from Sharon, that there's no lights on the court.
This does not change.
Okay.
Right.
And,
Or you
no,
can
no.
wait till 2 weeks from now, it's, doesn't matter to me.
I just wanted to clarify for a couple of people, when you're talking ordinance, you're talking his or, what pertains to him, and it's not the ordinance that we read in the zoning.
No, it's just
Right,
dealing
it's
with,
just-
dealing with the one variance
Right.
for this gentleman's
Right,
property.
so it's not just
It's not across
the
the board.
ordinance, right,
No.
it's not across the board.
Specific to this property.
Right.
And can I just, as Mike Schwartz, staff, just for clarification, since I've drafted an ordinance, obviously we haven't presented it to you this evening, based on the recommendation that came out of the Plan Commission. But the current zoning ordinance has a provision, and it's on page 3 of your report, that states that any outdoor recreational facility must be adequately screened, and that all lighting must conform to village lighting regulations. So that's already in the zoning ordinance. If you want to specifically prohibit lighting forever and ever on this site, that can be written into this particular ordinance as well. But I just wanted to point that out, that if at some point he did want to provide lighting, it would have to be in accordance with the village regulations.
Right, but this ordinance would reflect that you don't want lights, right?
Right.
Right, so this ordinance is going to reflect that there will be no lights in this.
Okay, you're able to add that additional proviso if you like.
Right.
Right, just for his piece of property.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so there's a motion to adopt an ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, then you need a second on that.
Carlos seconded.
I second it.
Are you understanding what we're doing? Do you understand? It's
Pretty
confusing.
much. My biggest concern is the timing of it.
Right.
If it does go through, because I've lost a few months already.
Right.
And my daughter's trying out for basketball this year for school, where in the past, everybody made the team. Now she's at the middle school trying out. And now it's kind of becoming a muddy mess back there with all the rain. I just want to get the landscaping done as soon as possible. I want to get the court done so she could practice.
Okay.
So, can you explain to him just quickly what we're doing? So he understands, 'cause I don't think he's
So that
understanding.
what they're going to do, what the board proposes to do tonight is to vote on the ordinance granting you the variance. So if they vote on that tonight and they grant it, then you have your variance, and you can get going as soon as you get the permits from the town.
Okay.
Okay?
You seconded? Carlos seconded.
Motion second.
All right. Is there any more discussion? Okay. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Varian?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Trojki?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Motion carries. Then what I would do is call over to
Yeah, well, you get in touch with Mike tomorrow with,
Mike Salamowitz. Mike
And
Schwartz.
what I will do, Mark, is I have a draft ordinance ready to go, and I'll send that to Mark for review, and then once it's kind of looked at, we'll send it out, we'll distribute it to all the trustees and the mayor.
You just have to add the no light.
And your permit that was kind of held up because of all this, then tomorrow I can sign off on it now that they've granted the variance.
And Dan, if
Thank
you don't
you.
mind,
Appreciate
if you
it.
don't mind, because I visited the property, but I didn't want to go on your property without your permission. I'd like to be able to go out there and look at it once we have this verbiage.
Sure.
I didn't want to
Okay.
go out there if you had any issues with it.
No.
Okay, I'll go with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, where is it? Okay. ComEd fence. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 15026, an ordinance granting a variation to permit a fence over 6 foot in height in the I-1 Industrial District, 6 to 12, requested for the property commonly known as ComEd Transmission Substation located at 13015 West 143rd Street, also known as 14546 South Bell Road, as recommended by the Plan Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just have one strange question, sorry. When that fence does go up, is that a fence that aesthetically remains clean? Because that's going
It
to
doesn't
border.
rust.
Yeah, it doesn't rust away, and if it does, are you guys going to power wash it when it does deteriorate?
Actually, we went through this when we do the, the whole bidding process, and we want a fence that's gonna last. I mean, it is a lot of money. I mean, for the sites that we're doing, we're almost at $200 million. So, this fence is galvanized.
Okay.
And it is, and the other thing about this fence too is it's very robust. It's very mechanical. It's a lot of bolts and pieces. It's really a great structure.
Yeah, I'm
And,
just,
yeah,
I'm
so
looking
no,
from the
that's,
side,
no, that's even the
streets.
plan, because we have to maintain it, and we do not want to, so by all means.
Okay.
It should be no worries.
Was it,
Go ahead.
was it your standards to put it to 12 feet instead of
Yeah,
10, or is
well,
that federal standards, why it's
It's
so
the
high?
federal standards that give you a guidance on where you should go, so they kind of guide you in what it could be, like, let's say out in Pennsylvania, Dominion Power, that's more critical because it's Washington DC and stuff, they're actually doing the same fence, but at 20 foot tall. So it's actually, we're on the, so we're on the lower end, but there are standards where they kind of direct you in what style of fencing to utilize.
So this fence is going to be put on the inside of the existing chain link fence?
It will replace the chain link fence.
It will replace it?
Yes, the chain link fence will be gone.
Oh, okay.
And Trustee Costa, this is one of the areas we talked about of public safety, right, where they were having some issues with that fencing,
We talking about the barbed wire?
right?
No, actually, that was an issue on the transmission pole by one of our paths.
Oh, okay.
And where you put the barbed wire about 10 foot up, it was hanging, and you guys got right on it, fixed it right away, and it was taken care of.
Any other questions?
Were you going to do landscaping without touching the wetlands?
Yes, well, yeah, we do. We want to stay away from the wetlands.
Right.
I know that Tom did put together to add a few more trees and items to the front of the yard, just for a little more beautification. But like I said, again, it's kind of tough. You can see it for the photo somewhat, but the fence, I mean, it's not a bad looking fence. I feel confident everyone will like the looks of it much better than the chain link.
Okay.
How long will it take to construct?
We actually have the crew setting up currently. This is probably about a 4-month project.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Burien?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Trojki?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
All right.
Motion carries. 7, appointment to the Parade and Fest Committee. Is there a motion to approve the appointment of Ann Holtz and Mike McGowan to the Villages Parade and Festival Committee? It is understood that these appointments to the Parade and Festival Committee are for a period of 1 year.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Burien?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Trojki?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Costa?
Aye. Motion carries. That's the end of the action. We are in workshop items. We're gonna have a presentation of the village's new website. Village staff members Heather Kokodinsky and Kathy Carrick, Elena Bowles have worked with Civic Plus to redesign the village's website. The redesigned website is easy for staff to update and provides user-friendly features for Homer Glen residents. So tonight, the staff will provide an overview of the content and features of the website. So with that, Heather, could you please begin the presentation?
Happy to. In mid-May, we brought our permanent site live. Prior to our permanent site, we had a light site which didn't contain all of our historical information. This permanent site does. It was designed to have a clean look and allow for the user to be able to find information quickly. I want to draw your attention to the top of the site. It's probably the most important part of the site, which is the search bar. You type anything in there pretty much and you're going to find what you're looking for. Whether it be job, it'll take you to what we have currently available for jobs. You could type in special events and you will get all the list of special events that are going to be taking place. So whenever in doubt and you can't find it after a couple minutes, I would go straight to the search bar. Below the search bar, you're going to see our mega menus. The website committee basically broke up all the information from our old site, and we made it user-friendly in the sense that you can find what you're looking for under each one of the mega menus pretty quickly. So when you scroll down from that, you'll see that there are buttons, and those are the primary, the buttons are the primary questions that staff receives. When we get phone calls, people want to know how they request for a dead tree to be removed. So you would click on that, fill out a form, and that would come to staff. And then we would immediately begin to process that. Another button, new resident, you would be able to find information. It has our resident handbook on there. You know, you can contact New Wave for garbage services, all the things a new resident would want to know. Next to that is Stay Informed, where you can sign up for emergency alerts or to be notified when a job is available. Following that is agendas and minutes. We have the agendas listed for all of our committees, and the Plan Commission and Village Board meeting agendas go back to, I want to say, 2006. So we received a lot of requests for people from people to include that information, and it is now available in that one location, and we are now updating that with YouTube videos, so that people can also access that next to the agendas and minutes. Next to that, you'll see there are the village ordinances. These are our key ordinances that people call about for like weed regulation, the zoning ordinance to see certain parts of it. Those will all be found in there. We have construction updates, so you can find out what's going on. Our our transparency portal will take you to the information that is mostly sought by residents, such as the check registers and the accounts payable information. And then next to that, you'll see our special events, and that'll provide any special events that are coming up. Below that, we have upcoming events, so you could click on the calendar to find out what will be coming up during the week. And to the right of that, we have recent news, where we try to post what's what's basically recent news. For example, we had a community-wide mosquito spraying last week, and that was what we posted, and anybody that had subscribed to recent news would have received an update saying that you're going to have a community-wide spraying, just an FYI. So this is the main page of the site. We think that we've cleanly and concisely provided important information that you can access right here on the homepage. If you go back up to the top of the site, we're going to take a look at the mega menus. The first mega menu is government. That's where you're going to find out information about elected officials, again, government transparency, where you can find out major contracts, standard operating procedures. To the right of that, committees and commissions. So it'll show you who's on what committee, when the committee meets. It'll even link to that committee's agendas, so that we keep the residents informed with that. And then to the right of that, we have our departments, so you can find out what staff member you would need to contact with respect to accounts payable or economic development. So that's the first part. But I'm gonna let Kathy explain the second part of the mega menus, which is community.
These pages under community were built in response to the phone calls that we received from residents. So we want our residents and future residents to have access 24/7 to this information. And our hope was that if someone is planning on possibly moving into Homer Glen, they take a look at this and they see what there is, what's happening, and what would be available to them. We have just basic demographics here about Homer Glen, finding out that the median age of our residents is 43.2, I believe, and which means that they don't have a lot of time. You know, they're working on their careers, they have their kids. So one of the most important things they can do on any of these menus is to use the
Search bar.
search bar. And that's really what we want to stress here. Search bar. Under environment, our environment committee has spent hours of research, and all of it has been carried over into this area. So we might have people calling about bats that they have in their yard, the gypsy moth spraying, different resources here. This is a great one, resources for children. And of course, our stargazing. We also have our parks and recreation listed with what facilities are available at each of them. The different maps are located here. And actually, this one here, the Chicago Southland Convention and Visitors Bureau, you really can plan a whole weekend just by going to this site. It was kind of interesting to plan a weekend going to Starved Rock from the Homer Glen website. For our new and prospective residents, we have different information, and even for people that have been here for quite a while, just, what are the regulations on branch pickup? We do get a lot of calls about the PACE bus, vehicle stickers, yard waste disposal, and down at the bottom, different services and utilities that we have. So here's a popular one. So stargazing. There's our result. And that's the quickest way to get that information. So again, what do we need? What do we need to use? Anyone?
Search bar.
Search bar. So we will have these search bars for all of our residents that came to visit with us tonight. Doing business? Janie?
So you can see that there's quite a lot of information available under the Doing Business mega menu. And I'm going to just take you over here to Economic Development and show you that on this page we've got our contact, and we just give a quick brief about the advantages of locating your business in Homer Glen with our regional map. This is actually our trade area map that goes out based on drive time, 5, 10, and 15 minutes from the community. So you can see the reach that Homer Glen has and that trade area market. These are the demographics that follow, and the traffic counts, our major retailers, and our major employers. This is just basic information that is important for many businesses to know. We want to make it all very accessible and easy to have at your fingertips. But what I'd like to spend mostly the bulk of my time on at this point would be to take you into the available spaces and properties. You can click on it right here. You can see that it's already over here on the sidebar menu. And if you came back up to Doing Business, available spaces and properties are right here, also under Economic Development. There's lots of different ways to get into it. So let's go ahead and go into it. This is really the nuts and bolts of what brokers, property owners, developers, and businesses want is, what do you have in your inventory in terms of available spaces as well as available properties that could be development sites. So in this section, there are a number of ways that you can search it. It is possible you can look at all of them by just clicking on all here. You can also, if you know that a property or whatever has a, what it's titled, you can search for it on an alpha basis and just pull up the list for everybody that comes out, like Homer Town Square, for instance, and click on the H to do that. You can also use the category drop-down box, and that's located right here. And I just want to show you what these categories are. So this is this database is actually searchable by these categories, and this is where I think the power of the new website is shining. These first few retail service spaces, office space, and then development opportunity sites, you can actually search on any one of those. And this is under the basic category is commercial type. So if you're just interested in just seeing the office spaces, you can just look at those. You can also, if you're very corridor specific, search by one of our 3 primary commercial corridors, either 143rd Street, 159th, or Bell Road. And then there's also size as a category, and we have it in ranges as to acreage, to smaller land sites up to larger land sites. And then we have the rest of the categories have to do with square footages of units. So if you know you're just looking for a space that's under 2,500 square feet, you can click and get that information. So those are all ways that you can search this database. Let's just take a look at what happens when we take a look at the Bell Road corridor. So we've put in the Bell Road corridor, and now we're going to click on search. It's going to do its magic, and the resulting list is just going to give you those. There's 18, I think there's 54 listings on this whole database right now, and 18 of them are considered to be along the Bell Road corridor. So when you're looking at any one listing, you're going to find the location and contact information on the left-hand side. It's common to see a view map. If you click on this, it's going to take you to a MapQuest map so you can see where it's located, and that's interactive, so you can go into it and zoom in or zoom out and look around. The contact information for the either the broker or the property owner. We've got the email hot linked right here, and that opens up Outlook, and we're not going to do that right now because this is not set up to do it on this computer. We want to just get rid of this right now and cancel.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you. Not reading right now. Okay, but anyway, on the normal computer, it'll go right up to your, set you up with an email, and you're ready to type in your message. This property slide we do for each of the listings, and it looks like this. Each one gets a page, and it will give you a photo or an aerial, and it will give you some aspects of the and details about the property. And in this case, this is the plaza that has ATI and Taza in it, and there is just one 1,280 square foot blast unit available for lease. And here's your contact person. You can also just get right to the email through clicking on this hot link right here. And then to go back, then I just want to show you this side. We do provide some more information about what the zoning is. This is either the size of the unit or the land that's available. The PIN ID number is helpful. And then if there's a broker's flyer available, we are able to link to that. So in this case, there is. And we'll just open that up and I'll show you. So here's the broker's flyer, and showing where the site is located, some of the major retailers in the area, the traffic counts and all of that, drilling into it, and then actually gets into the building plan and shows you the available square footage and lineup of tenants that are already in there. So with contact information and demographics and so on, market information. So this is all valuable information to have at your fingertips, and if I know that I'm interested in Bell Road, I can go right down this list and look for it's basically it's sorted after the category. It's sorted by the size, so it'll start with the smaller sizes and go on up. So one last thing I think I want to show you. Let's see here. We'll just go to the second page of this. Here's the Goodings Grove property that is available. It's 13.5 acres as a development opportunity site, and it's just north of the Home Depot in Meyer. And if there is a depiction, the land sites often will be depicted on an aerial map. So this has an aerial map, and it says see top of the page, and you want to look at reference site B. So if we just go to the top up here, here's another tool. The aerial maps are right here, and we want the Bell Road corridor map. So if I click on that, and wait for it to load. And there it is, and our site B is right there. just north of the Home Depot. And this is a handy tool too, because very quickly you can see visually the red land opportunity site. So the outlots around Menards, the one outlot in front of Homer Town Square, the property next to Purple Onion Restaurant, our site that's just become on the market for sale around the Citgo station, et cetera. So those are some of the tools available from this new inventory that has extra bells and whistles of it now, because we do have the new website that gives us that capability. So that's basically it. I guess who's doing next? Elaine, okay. Do you want to come over here?
That's okay, if you can just kind of
Sure. And where are you
go
going?
over. I'm going to do mega menu and how do I.
Okay.
Probably one of the most important menus for new residents, people looking to build, getting building permits. As you go through the menus in this particular mega menu, if you're looking to apply for a building permit, there's all kinds of building information in there. If you just click on building, it'll give you all the different building permits available, what you have to do, the applications, anything. You want to know information about burning, leaf burning, how do I? You can either go into this menu, or you might, from the main page, use
The search bar.
the search bar.
Yay!
And if you type in
said
the
that?
search bar,
I do
how
too.
do I burning leaves, it'll bring you right to the page and give you all the information you need about getting an application for leaf burning. The next search would be find. This is important if you're looking for common regulations, which will take you to some of our ordinances, resources and services available throughout the village. Okay, local organizations that are in the village of Homer Glen. Information from the resident handbook that's very handy for new residents. This is a great resource, and we are so excited about the capabilities and the resources we're able to offer our residents through our new website. Sign up. Many of our new residents or current residents want to know, how do I sign up for something? How can I sign up to be a volunteer? How can I get comment emergency alerts? Right there in your menu, there's the options to sign up for those various things. Next search would be reports. Commonwealth Edison gives our reports on power outages. You can log on to our website and get any power outage information throughout the village. If you go to our view menu, you can look at our comprehensive plan and report, our land use map, various things. Go back to old newsletters that we've published throughout the years for the village. You can go see public hearing notices that are coming up, and also check out our zoning map. Janie did mention that there is a lot of cross-references throughout our website. If you look at the left side of the screen, it will cross-reference some of those things and give you more information. And then last but not least, we get a lot of requests for information from our Freedom of Information. And it's right there under request, or again, if you go to our main page, you would type in the search bar, FOIA, and it would take you right to the page. So it gives you the page to fill out to send in your FOIA request for any information that you are looking for. So staff is extremely excited, as I said, about offering all these capabilities on our new website to our residents. And it makes our job even easier because we have this tool at our fingertips that we can type in the search bar and give you information right over the phone, which helps our receptionist very much. If you happen to get stuck inside the website on a particular page, all you have to do is hover over Village of Homer Glen, and it will take you right back to the main page.
Very nice job. Very nice job.
Are there any questions on it?
One, there's a lot of information on here, especially when we get into the commercial end and the, the land and the businesses that are available, or storefronts. How often are we going to update it, and who's going to do that?
I'm going to be doing the updating, and because I now have access to the back end of the website, I can do it in real time as it's happening. That's the quickest way to do an update, because if you let it pile up, it becomes an overwhelming job. But if you just stay on top of it, it's the easiest way to do it.
We've actually parceled out parts of the website so that, one person doesn't have to do everything, and that there's always a backup in place. For example, if I'm not here to post agendas, Kathy's my backup. Just so that we're constantly giving the latest information to the residents in a timely fashion.
My second question is that under the agendas, are we going to post the agenda, or are we going to put the packets in there? I think one of the biggest, I don't want to say complaint, but one of the biggest concerns of the residents is that we sit up here and, for example, tonight we had 7 or 8 items and we went through them relatively quick. We had a great packet, a lot of information, everything that we needed. The residents really don't know what we're saying aye to unless we discuss it. And a lot of residents would like to know what we're looking at or what we've looked at and what we're voting on. Are there any plans for us to at least put some of the legislative items on the website? Is that something that'd be very difficult to do?
If you want it, we can do it. If you want that
It's just
on
a
there,
question.
absolutely.
Just a question.
It can be done.
Okay, because the other big thing with it is if we can put it online to where everyone can get it, it cuts back on all the trees we're cutting down to put all this paper out here. Any of the news people want it, they can press a button, pick what they want, print it out, and it would be a lot easier. So I appreciate it, and I think you did an absolutely wonderful job. I've used it a few times, and it definitely is so much easier than the last one.
And the search bar really works.
Yes.
I used it.
Well, that's the best thing.
And it tastes good, too.
It's fabulous, and I know how much time and energy you have all put into it, and good job. It's great.
Okay,
Mayor, quick
are there
point.
any other questions?
Quick point. I spend a lot of time on village websites, and I've spent a good part of the last week, I've spent a lot of time on this site just because it's new and wanting to go through it and take it through some of the paces. And I have to say, this is one of the best village websites that I've come across, and I've dealt with a lot of them that are from various capacities, looking for different things, but they're often hard to navigate. Transparency is often an issue where you know things are on there, but you really have to know how to look for them. And this website, in my opinion, is two of the most important things for any good website. It's clean, and it's really easy to navigate. And I just think you guys have done a really, really great job on this. And as we've been going through it tonight, I can sort of see the screen, but I've been following along on my phone, which is also, as we know, most internet usage is now by some sort of mobile device, whether it's a tablet or a phone, and everything that we went through worked perfectly on my phone and was just as easy to navigate. And so I just think you guys have done a really phenomenal job on this.
Thank you.
That capability was very important to us when we were looking at these sites.
Right.
Yeah, it's a really good job.
You nailed it.
Yes, you did. Any other questions or comments? Okay. With that one, we will go to number 2. This one is a mayoral term limit referendum question. Before I ran for mayor, I thought that it would be a good idea to put term limits on just a village manager. It's hard to put the term limits on the trustees because we have 6 of them. And a lot of people don't run for the, you don't get a lot of people running for the trustee, and it's very hard to have a board that has no knowledge if you get a new mayor and you get a completely new board. It takes time for them to be able to understand what's going on and how to basically navigate with the village. So what I had said is that the mayor be allowed to serve no more than 2 full 4-year terms. If you can't get done with what you want in 8 years, you're not doing a job right. So, and then my other thing is, and I don't mean to pick on anyone, but you get some of these guys that have been in office for 12, 16, 20, and more years. They don't do too much except sit around and collect one giant paycheck and pension. So I think it's good to get fresh blood in there. and you get fresh ideas, you get basically everything fresh. So I myself would like to see a term limit of no more than 2 terms in office, and you guys can discuss it and figure out what you want to do. So the floor is basically open. You guys can discuss it between yourselves. I mean, that's just how I feel, so you guys decide what you want to do, and I'm fine with it either way.
Well, I have a thought here. Since this is something that would go on referendum, correct, on the ballot?
Yes.
Okay, I just think that, just a couple points that I could think of right off is, you know, there are a lot of communities where mayors are there a long time, 12, 14 years, like Mayor Yukich said. That may or may not be because he's either doing a good job or maybe no one's just running for the office. So we all know that during an election cycle, I don't care if you're running for local all the way to the President of the United States, it just seems like right now everybody discredits you rather than concentrates on what you want to do for the community or for the state or the country. My point is that if you have somebody in office, and people, I'm sure everybody's going to realize this, you have somebody in office that's doing a great job, and it's a long-term vision that the board and the mayor has, and they're trying to work something out. At the end of that term, second term, no matter what, that mayor is out. And somebody else has to get in there. Now, it can be another trustee that runs for mayor, or it could be anybody from the public. And I really think this is a decision to go to referendum for the residents of the community to decide if they would want a term limit or not. But we all have to understand that you could have a mayor doing a wonderful job that's not able to run again because his 2 terms are up. And I just want to bring that point up. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that we might come back, someone might come back in 8 years and say, what do we have to do to keep John in there? He's doing a great job. This community is thriving, and a lot of it is because of his contacts and his, and his commitment to the community. Well, there's nothing we can do. We've got this that says he's got to go.
Can I chime in if you don't mind?
Sure.
I support the idea, and I agree with you, Trustee Costa. My only comment on that would be that you would hope that the mayor in office at the time, knowing that they have only a 2-year term, would be mentoring somebody along the way. So with that said, I don't think it would put a halt to forward progress. Just my thought.
I would just add to that, the trend in the community is when I was doing some research on it, it's definitely term limits. And I think that most recent elections also showed that. The trend is people are looking for term limits. And a mayor that's committed to his community and his term is up, hopefully stays committed to his community.
Exactly.
Whether it's in a volunteer position or, you know, some other aspects, it doesn't need to be necessarily the mayor, you know, somebody who has been involved that far, so I would agree.
Sharon?
Yes, I think it's a good idea. I agree with what Trustee Caprio said, though, too. But I would support it.
Mr. Gurian?
Yeah, I guess my view on this topic in general has evolved over time. And this is an issue that in my professional life we deal with quite often. I've been through the pros and cons on this at multiple different levels. You know, one of the cons that we'll hear is that you can term limit the elected officials, but you don't term limit the staff. And when we talk about some of the knowledge and some of the institutional knowledge that remains stays at a staff level while the elected officials come in and out, and sort of empowers staff more than elected officials at some point. But at the same time, I was born and raised in a nearby community in which we've had, I say we, my parents still live there, we've had 2 mayors in the last 65 to 70 years. And I think we have lots of examples of these, specifically in the south suburbs or the southwest suburbs, of mayors that some do a really good job. Others are so entrenched that it becomes very difficult to challenge an incumbent mayor. And so I guess my position on this and in a larger context has evolved. But what I think this proposal does well is it term limits the mayor, doesn't term limit the trustees, and this certainly isn't for me personally, but I think the importance of that is that when you think about term limits, right? If we think about term limits on a village level, on a local level, the first thing you think of is the mayor, right? Nobody thinks about how long some of the trustees have been in office. If they've been, I can't tell you. Even in the example I gave of 2 mayors in 70 years, I honestly can't tell you how long the trustees have been there. Maybe 1 or 2, but I don't know. It's the figurehead. It's the executive office. And I guess what I would say in support of this is consecutive terms, correct? Correct. This isn't a life ban after 8 years. So you could come back if someone wanted to. They could miss a term, and if they still had that involvement, they could run again for another 8 years, correct, under the way that this is written?
Well, this isn't written this pretty much ends it for, they could not run another full 8 years.
Ever?
No.
This is, I guess I'm reading this as consecutive.
We'll let the lawyer explain it.
Sure.
Thank you. Well, the way it was originally written was along the lines of the United States Constitution, which allows the president to serve no more than 10 years.
Sure.
So he gets like, in Johnson's instance, he was able to run 64 and then could run against 68 because he was filling out less than 2 years of Kennedy's term. But the revision that was made at the mayor's request is that they be 2 non-consecutive terms.
Okay.
So if you take a bite at the apple and get elected in 2015, and then you run again, you step down, you run again, 2 more terms later and get elected, that's it.
Okay. And I guess I'm okay with that. I've looked at some of the surrounding villages that do have term limits, Downers Grove being one of them, and I believe it's, and again, so I'm not opposed to that, but it is consecutive, and if at some point, after there's a term in between, you could come back and run again. That aside, I think the importance is, even under this as it's written, is that if a mayor still wanted to be involved, they could always run for trustee. It's just that executive level office that's being term limited, and I think I'll leave it at that. I'm supportive of this for those reasons, and the consecutive, non-consecutive, I guess could be debated, but it's an issue that if you, and I don't know that you handle every issue like this, but I think the general voting public on this topic has been exceedingly clear at all levels. I think it would be something fitting for this village at this time.
I do too. There's one thing that I would like the residents to understand too. This last election, which in my eyes was huge because we ran as a write-in slate. Basically 5 people running for office as a write-in candidate. And with everything that was happening in this village at the time, we still only had 18% of the village come out and vote. So if there is a big issue, if the people don't know that it's going on, they don't pay attention to it and they don't go out and vote. And so you're right back with a headache again. So the reason I like the idea is pretty much like the president too. I understand he's the president of the United States, but when you get into as a trustee, and I've only been doing this for a few months now, as a trustee, you have a lot of obligations you have to do. You give up a lot of time. As a mayor, you don't do the committees like the trustees do, because your day is basically 24 hours. After a while, I think I can understand how people can get burnt out on this, and kind of lose sight of the direction that they should be going in. Plus, you know, and there are a lot of good public servants out there, but there's also a lot of bad politicians. And you look at what's going on in the state right now, you look at what's going on in the country, and I just feel that it's better to get some change in there. If that person doesn't work out, at least you got 4 years, and then that guy's gone or that woman's gone, and you can put someone else in. It's my opinion, I think it's a good idea that if they want to stay the 8 years, stay the 8 years. If they want to stay the 4 years, stay the 4 years. But I don't think anyone should just constantly have, if the people, I guess, vote them in, it's, like Trustee Costa said, there are a lot of good mayors out there that have been a mayor for a long time. A lot of good trustees. I think that the idea with the trustees not touching them is more important because they are actually the voting body. All I do is tell you what I think and read off what we're going to be voting on that day. It's the trustees who do everything. These are the most important people up here. You know, so to me, this is just a figurehead. I got into this because I didn't like the direction I saw, and I figured that for me, if it stayed the same as it was before, we weren't getting anything done. Now we have an opportunity to get some things done. So, like I said, it is your decision on this. I just like the idea because it does get new blood in here. You know, some of us, you know, I don't consider any of us old, but we're not spring chickens either. And you'd like to see some younger people get involved in this because sooner or later they're going to have to. Things are changing. That's all I got.
Is the proposal different than what this reads? It's been amended, I guess is what?
Actually, I prepared it as I discussed, which is that it would be the 2 consecutive tenure terms.
Okay.
And then
4
2 consecutive 4-year terms. I'm sorry. And then the mayor asked him to change it so that it was 2 non-consecutive.
Okay, okay.
But it doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'm operating off of the 2 consecutive full 4-year terms.
You don't have the one that says revised 6 May?
Everybody got that in their packet.
Got what?
No,
we just got it tonight.
On the desk.
Right, so you just tell us what you want. You want
I
non-consecutive
do.
terms, consecutive terms?
Thank you.
I'm fine with how it reads.
I'm fine with the revised.
I'm fine with the revised
With
as
the
well.
non-consecutive terms.
Right.
With
Okay.
the one dated 6 May
Right.
15.
Right, okay. So we'll make sure that, you know, the one thing that we will do is check with the Will County Board of Elections to make sure, because you have to pass it before a certain date, but I want to make sure that you can't pass it before a certain date.
Okay.
Like passing petitions, it's got to be done within a window, and that's easy. We'll just make that, we'll make that call on its own.
And lastly, when it comes to this resolution isn't law. It would go to a referendum, and the people of the residents of this village would be able to vote on it to decide whether or not they want this.
And the referendum would be binding, not advisory, correct?
Right. These are not, this is under that section of the election code, these are binding referendums, so if it passes, it is the effective law, we would pass an ordinance to that effect. That we then would.
Are there any other comments? Okay, then I'm looking for we're going to be going into executive session, but is there any old business? Is there any new business? Okay, so I need a motion to go into executive session for purposes of discussing the hiring, performance, and compensation of personnel.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Berrien?
Aye.
Trustee Trachey?
Aye.
Okay. Then we're gonna, no, we're not gonna be taking any action when we get out, so basically the